Hi everybody, this is Mayor Shelly Brindle and I am here with Town Administrator Jim Gildea and Neil Rubeinstein from Realty Appraisal Group, who has been overseeing the revaluation process for the town. So we just wanted to make sure that we gave everyone context for the process in anticipation of the letters about new appraisal values that'll be going out to homes this week. So I thought we would just begin with Jim, who can give everybody a bit of background on why this process is taking place, a little history on it, how we ended up with Realty Appraisal Group, and we'll go from there.
Great, thank you, Mayor. The realty appraisal or the revaluation process is something that has not been done in Westfield since 1981. So we've had a long time since we've done it. The town of Westfield, like every single town in Union County, has been or will be ordered to do a revaluation. Usually, counties order their towns to do revaluations every 10 years. Union County, like a handful of other counties, have not ordered their towns to do revaluations. So the state stepped in back in 2016 and ordered the county to order its communities to conduct revaluations. And so Westfield was ordered by the state originally, and then we asked to we wanted to work with the county instead. They're closer and easier to work with, so they allowed us to do that. So in 2016, the county ordered the town of Westfield to conduct a revaluation of all taxable properties within the town of Westfield. Why do we do a revaluation? Revaluation, one of the misnomers is that somehow the town's going to collect more money. That's not the case at all. As a matter of fact, the tax collections remain the same. Instead, we're equitably distributing the taxes. So someone who's overpaying on their home now will hopefully be adjusted to pay what they're supposed to pay, and people that are underpaying will be adjusted to pay what they should pay as well. Simply said, a revaluation, basically right now, today, we have a very high tax rate. 9.297 is our current tax rate, and our assessments are very low. The average assessed home in Westfield is $182,000 for a home that's probably worth $800,000. So what we're trying to do in essence is flip those numbers. We want to bring tax assessments up to market value. So the $182,000 average assessed home should be $800,000 approximately, and the tax rate, which is now 9.297, should be in the 2.0 range. And that's what we're doing. So basically flipping those two numbers. And so in order to conduct the revaluation in 2016, the town went out to bid. We had multiple respondents to the bid. We were lucky enough to find Realty Appraisal Company and Neil Rubeinstein and his company to conduct the revaluation on behalf of the town. Not only are they conducting the revaluation, they will also defend all of the valuations that are established for a 2-year period if people do choose to appeal those valuations and appraisals and assessments. So that's a quick overview of how we got to where we are. And again, part of the reason we're doing this today on January 8th or 9th, I guess, is this is the week that the letters begin to go out to homeowners, giving them information about their preliminary assessments and information on how they can collect or calculate those tax rates for them. So maybe it's a good time to pass over to Neil about maybe background about your company and your success rate and then where we are in the process.
Sure, thank you. Yes, Realty Appraisal Company, we were fortunate enough to be hired to perform the revaluation in Westfield. As Jim said, we started over a year ago. It has taken a long time. Westfield is a very large, vast town. Where we are today, we are actually mailing letters today. About 2,000 letters will be mailed to residents in the lower blocks of Westfield. Currently, we still have about 600 or 700 properties left to inspect. We've appraised and inspected over 8,000 properties, and they're totally done. The last group of homes that we have to inspect and appraise, those letters will obviously go out at the tail end or at the end of the mailing of the notification letters. With the properties that receive their letters, the property owners that receive their letters in the next few days, that letter will have instructions on how to reach us, either by our website or by phone, to make an appointment, to come in and sit down and talk one-on-one with one of our representatives about their proposed assessment and their property record card. That is the form that we produce for the tax assessor that has all of the information that we collected and that is contained: the building description, the lot description, number of bathrooms, all of the physical information about the inspection and appraisal of the property.
Neil, a couple questions.
Sure.
How are you able to do the appraisals without having completed everything 100%, with 600 or 700 homes still to go?
So we're appraising each home individually. We do it by neighborhood. So we started in the first section of town, and we finished that section until we moved on to the other. But the relationship of one appraisal to another is only relevant if they're in the same neighborhood. So since we're in one final area, we are able to appraise all of the 8,000 properties that are done, and all of the commercial properties, all of the apartments, stores, everything in downtown, that's fully appraised and finished.
So when do you said the tail end of letters, when do you think the final letters will be going out?
I would guess about 3 weeks from now, 2 to 3 weeks. Again, as with the 600 or 700 left, if we've done 200 of them, we can mail those. We don't have to wait until every last property is done, just like now we're mailing the first 2,000 letters, and tomorrow I believe we're mailing about 1,400 letters. The properties that are done, we are going to mail. The informal hearings start January 21st, possibly in this room right here, and we're going to meet with residents that want to meet with us and go over their inspection. And if we did not do an interior inspection of their home during the revaluation process when we were in their neighborhood, we can make an appointment, go out and inspect their property and take care of it right there.
Can you say what area it is yet that is going to be at the tail end?
Yes, Wychwood, I believe, is the main section. We're still working in Wychwood.
Right. So if you don't get a letter in the next week or two, don't assume it's been overlooked. So they'll be rolling out over the next 3 weeks, with Wychwood probably be area being near the tail end.
Yes, and even if we were done with all 10,000 taxable properties, we wouldn't mail all the letters on day one anyhow. We would always stagger the mailing. We use a web address to, a company to take the appointments. Anybody can make their own appointment themselves if they have internet access and are comfortable. They can go on, they pick Westfield, there's a drop down. Then it'll say what day. They can pick whatever day. We have all the dates that are available. Pick a day, click on it, and then the times will drop down. And all we ask is that you put your name, address, and email address in. A lot of people don't want to put an accurate email because they don't like giving that to us. We ask people to do that in case we get bad weather. If there's a snowstorm, then we have a very easy way of getting in touch with all the people that are scheduled for February 1st and say, hey, the town hall's closed and please reschedule.
So talk about what's in the letter. What can people expect to receive?
Sure. So the letter has a lot of information. The most important thing that it has is the proposed assessment of your property as of October 1st, 2018. That's the date of value for the revaluation, and it's the date of value for any assessment in the state of New Jersey. Also contained in that letter is an example of a house that is currently assessed, which happens to be the average assessment of all homes in Westfield, which is $182,000, the current tax rate, and the average taxes for that average assessed home of $16,920. We give an illustration of that house and its future assessment based upon the average increase in the town right now, and we show, as Jim stated, that the average home is going from $182,000 to roughly $805,000. In this letter, we have estimated a tax rate, so everyone that receives their letter can take their proposed assessment, which is printed in the letter, and multiply it by 2.103, which is the estimated tax rate. It's not the actual tax rate, but as of now, it's an estimated rate using the budget and tax rate from 2018, because we don't know what the budgets are for 2019 yet. They're not struck. So if you take your new assessment times the 2.103, you can get an idea of where your taxes are going to land. Ultimately, we are responsible for the appraisal of your property solely. In discussions with the town, we agreed to give more information than we typically do. In most towns, we simply mail out a letter that solely has your proposed assessment, your future tax assessment, without an estimated tax rate. But we realize, and in discussions with the town, that more people care about the effect of the revaluation than their future assessment, and that's why we agreed to post the tax rate, publish the tax rate.
So people can get a sense of really what their taxes are. In our case, where it hadn't been done in 31 years, the appraisal value is going to go up significantly, so we didn't want people to react in a way that their taxes might go up proportionately. So it shouldn't be the case, and so that's really why that illustration has been included.
Make a comment too, Mayor. So as Neil mentioned, what's in the letter is an estimated rate. And that may change when the whole process is finished, probably not very much. But it's very similar to what we do today with our current taxes. In July, we send out an estimated tax bill to every resident because we don't know what the final tax rate is. The county and the state have to certify their rates, and we don't get that information usually till July or August. So we always send out an estimated tax bill in July. And then once the rates are known, we send out the final bill in September of every year. By law, final bills must be sent by September 30th, and we do that. So this is a very similar process that we're sending out an estimated tax rate now, the revaluation letter with your new assessment. Once the 2019 details are finalized with town, county, school budgets, and the tax rate is set, the appeal process is over. We'll have a normal process in September, sending out a final tax bill, which is when you'll know your final tax rate for the next tax cycle. But maybe we can talk about the appeal process and the timing of that, because it is different for revaluation.
So someone gets their letter and they learn what their new appraisal is. They can question or want more information on the appraisal, but not on the tax rate, just to be clear, related to you. So they get that and they want to question or challenge potentially the appraised value of their home. So then what do they do? Okay, so if typically about 1 out of 10 taxpayers makes an appointment and comes in and sits down and goes over their assessment or record with us, the goal of that is for us to educate the property owner on how we came up with the assessment, but we also, it's a two-way street. We look to the resident or property owner, maybe there's something about their property that we were not aware of, an easement on their property that's not on the tax map. They may bring us some information, additional information, that may affect the assessment of their property, and we will review it and take any information that they supply. We'll review that later on. It doesn't happen exactly at the hearing, but they'll be reviewed by appraisers after that informal hearing. The goal of the revaluation to backup is to redistribute the assessments to bring everybody back to 100% market value. So with the estimated rate, there will be people that do that multiplication. Some people will be happy and some people possibly won't be happy, but ultimately the effect of the revaluation is because of two things: the current assessment on the property and the future assessment that my firm established. You divide those two and that will give you your average increase. If you're above or below, that will determine whether your taxes are going potentially up or down. But in a town that has gone 30 years, as in the case here, often there are adjustments that needed to be made. They needed to be made, in my opinion, years ago, but we're doing it now. The state told Westfield and many, many other towns in not only Union County, but in Hudson County and in Middlesex County. Union County is not the only county where they've gone many years. There are other counties also, and they've asked these towns, they've ordered these towns to perform a revaluation and bring everybody back up to market value. So in anticipation of these letters arriving, beginning in homes tomorrow, we are actually putting up all this information on our website. In the reevaluation section of the website, we'll have the sample letter online. We've also established a specific email address because we'd like to solicit questions from the public, not about your individual appraisal, but about any information about the process, what to expect. Submit your questions. It's reval@westfieldnj.gov. And then what we'll do is we'll compile these questions and we're going to post an FAQ online so that everybody can know have access to the same information. When you get the letter, there'll be information about how to contact Realty Appraisal and schedule a hearing if you want to. There's also a phone number that will be in the letter that you can call. And it's important to note that you have 5 days within receiving the letter to schedule that appointment. There'll also very importantly be a tax calculator, which I think is already on your website, which we'll be linking to in our reval site, which enables you to plug in your actual appraisal and the estimated tax rate so you can calculate your taxes online as well. So all of that information will be posted. Again, if there's information that you want, please submit those questions to reval@westfieldnj.gov. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we may have missed.
The only thing I'd say, so again, the resident gets a letter. If they're satisfied with the assessment that's in the letter, no further action is necessary by them. If they are not satisfied or want to just have a discussion, you make an appointment, as Neil outlined, with his company. If after that appointment there is some adjustment to be made, A letter will go out by Neil's company to the resident, informing them that either one, adjustment has been made based on the information they provided, or no adjustment is to be made. And then the appeal process, the normal annual appeal process, in a normal year, the appeal deadline is April 1st. In a revaluation year, the appeal deadline is moved or extended for 1 month, so you have till May 1st to file an appeal. And so that process stays normal, except for the deadline moved. And then once the appeal process is over, which is hearings in June, July, and August, usually mostly June and July at the county level, then the final tax rate and tax assessment can be struck. And one last thing to say, if I didn't say it before, Neil's firm, part of the agreement we have with this firm is that his firm defends those appeals, as it is his firm who's establishing the new assessments for each home. So, and that's for a 2-year period that they defend it. So. But those are the main things for right now that I think are important as the letters go out and people are going to get them at their homes.
Yeah, and I would say just very importantly, look for the letter in your mailbox in the incoming weeks. Review the information and contact Realty Appraisal if you have questions about your specific appraisal, and submit questions to us online if there's questions that you have about the process. So thank you very much, and hope this was helpful.
Thank you.